I want to welcome you guys back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast presented by FanDuel. We have a jam-packed episode for you guys today. In segment one, we'll be talking about Peyton Watson. His asking price has gone down. Does it make sense for the Detroit Pistons? We'll be talking about that in segment one. Segment two, Bradley Beal. There was a tweet earlier today that surfaced that the Pistons may have interest in Bradley Beal. We'll kind of talk about how realistic is this, or is this just something that people on Twitter are just making up for a couple of likes and views? Segment three, we'll be playing a video of Ron Holland in some, I guess you could call it just like pickup in Dallas, Texas, where he's currently at and working out right now. And in segment four, talk about Isaiah Joe. So let's get into segment one. So segment one is Peyton Watson. Now, Shams Charania went on ESPN earlier today and said that the Denver Nuggets have decreased their asking price in Peyton Watson sign and trade frameworks for the following: a quote high-level player and 1 first-round pick. Now, he's a restricted free agent, just like Jalen Duren, and obviously the price point that Watson wanted was $30 million a year. Obviously, Denver did not offer that. I think they offered the reported number I read in the article a couple of days ago was like, I think $70 million. So they're very far apart on coming to an agreement in restricted free agency. So they're looking at possible sign-in trades. Now, with Denver, they just matched an offer sheet for Spencer Jones that OKC tried to get him away from them, and they're a second apron team now. So sign and trades become pretty, I think, interesting for Denver, just for Denver, right? Because obviously there are rules when you are in the second apron about what you can take back in trades, obviously. How it kind of circles back to the Pistons. Now, Peyton Watson is a shooting guard, small forward position player, kind of like that archetype, right? Like a 2-3. Would it make sense for the Pistons to call Denver, just to see like what it could take? I think the Pistons would definitely do their due diligence and just calling Denver saying like, hey, what do you want for Peyton Watson? Just to get the conversation, see where they're at, see what they want. Now, like the report from Shams was very vague. One high-level player. Like, what is a high-level player in Denver's eyes? We know Cade Cunningham is a franchise player. You're not trading Cade. You're not trading Asar. I doubt they want Jalen Duren. They have a franchise center in Nikola Jokic. Obviously, Jokic didn't sign an extension this year, but I think all signs are pointing him of like retiring a Denver Nugget. That's beside the point. They probably don't want Duren. So you kind of go down the roster if you're the Pistons. Like Ron Holland automatically just is a player that you probably mentioned just because of a couple of things. Former top 5 pick, hasn't really had an opportunity in a sense where he's actually playing how he played in the G League Ignite. Like right now in Detroit, Ron plays a defined role that the coaching staff wants him to play, is kind of like this hustle energy guy off the bench. Like what happens if you give him a little bit of a bigger leash of, kind of like playing outside the box to JB Bickerstaff and the coaching staff have? Does Ron kind of have a breakout season in another system with another coach? Who knows? I think Ron is kind of very similar in the sense of like a Peyton Watson archetype where they're like 2-3s, can play at multiple positions, they can guard at a high level. Peyton Watson, on the other hand, I think is more polished as a three-point shooter, shot 40% from 3 this year, had a breakout season in scoring, averaging 14 points a game, almost 5 rebounds a game. And defensively, I think you really like Peyton Watson a lot. It just really depends. Again, what does Denver consider a high-level player? Like the first-round pick to me, like I'm good with. Like I'm good with the first-round pick. A first-round pick and a high-level player. I just don't really know what Denver would consider a high-level player. Like right off the bat, you're saying no to Cade and no to Asar. Again, they probably don't want Duren with the 10-foot pole. They already have a center. So you kind of go down the list. Like I saw someone in the comment section say, I consider Duncan Robinson a high-level player. just because he gets more touches here in Detroit, you guys, doesn't mean he's a high level player. I think he's a high level role player. I think Denver is looking for more of a player that has a ceiling that's untapped and possibly could be a third option in Denver's system next to Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic and next to Aaron Gordon as well. But I did want to talk about it. Never say never. I'm sure Trajan and the Pistons have at least called to see what it would take. I know a lot of you guys in the comment section have talked about Peyton Watson. Is it a possibility? I was just under the assumption, and maybe this is my fault as a podcaster, that I thought Denver was going to re-sign him and match any restricted free agent offer sheet by any means necessary. I really did, but it sounds like they're exploring options in sign and trade scenarios. I mean, I've heard the Clippers are very interested. Milwaukee over the last couple of days, they're pretty interested in Peyton Watson. I know Michael Porter Jr. says he's trying to get his boy to Brooklyn. Obviously, they were part of the same championship team in 2023. So I think he's a player that is a high-level two-way wing that could plug in pretty nicely in Detroit. Now, like where would he play? Obviously, you're not going to have Asar play the two. Peyton Watson has played the two in his career. Past couple of seasons, he's played small forward. But I mean, there's a world where you could have like a Cade, Peyton Watson, Asar Thompson, like point guard, shooting guard, small forward. You could, but again, it really depends on like what the asking price for the high level talent they're looking for. But did want to kind of discuss it in segment one. Before we get into segment two, we have to hear from our sponsors over at FanDuel. And right now over at FanDuel, you guys, the Pistons are set at 50.5 wins for their win total. Now, for the over, it's set at minus 105. And for the under, it's set at minus 120. I've told you guys I still have the Pistons as a 50-win team this year. I think they will go the over of 50.5. I still have them as a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. Maybe I'm sipping the Pistons Kool-Aid a little bit too hard. Maybe I've just kind of fallen victim of the past 2 seasons of me betting the under, and they've gone from 44 to 60. I don't know if they can take a jump from 44 to 60 to more. I don't have them winning 60 games, but I think you guys kind of get my point. Still think they'll be a top 4 team. Still think they'll be in the 50 win column range. You have some players that are returning in Kevin Huerter and Javonte Green. You do have some new faces in Isaiah Joe, John Collins, Taurean Prince. So you have more three-point shooting around this core. So I think they'll do better. But let's get into segment two. Now, segment two, again, take this with a grain of salt, like a giant grain of salt. Because I saw it and someone said, you're going to talk about it on the podcast today. I was like, why not? So NBA Trade Report on Twitter said that the Detroit Pistons have shown interest in Bradley Beal. And this was at 12 o'clock this afternoon. Now, this screams like a trust me, bro, I have sources tweet. Bradley Beal's 32 years old. He played, I think, less than 10 games this year, if I do remember correctly off the top of my head, because he had an injury. He was with the Los Angeles Clippers. Okay. I think we're starting to see a pattern with a lot of the players that the Pistons are reportedly like interested in, because a couple of, I want to say it was a week or two ago, the Pistons apparently had interest in DeMar DeRozan. And DeMar DeRozan's a little bit older as a shooting guard, right? Like, you kind of look at the bucket getters that they are. Now, obviously, Bradley Beal was injured, but his last healthy season in Phoenix, he put up 17.6 points a game. Again, I think if this was 10 years ago, sign me up. Like Bradley Beal in 2016, 100%. When he was with the Washington Wizards, absolutely. But I think at this stage of his career, I don't really know how much he does have left in the tank. And, he could come out this season and have a somewhat relatively healthy season for him. I would say like 50-ish games and, put up around his 16 to 17 points a game and be efficient. Like he could. Like I'm not really sure. I kind of question the interest just because we did our depth chart video a couple of weeks ago. I feel like it was last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. Time has just gone by so fast this summer. But the deepest position on this team is shooting guard. Like, you have 6 shooting guards on the roster right now. Signing Bradley Beal in free agency, even if it's for a vet's minimum, like I just question, where's the playing time going to come in at? Where's it going to come in at? So that's why I would take this report with a giant grain of salt. Like, when I saw it, I was just like, I don't really believe it. But hey, you never know. There have been people on the internet that have just tweeted stuff out randomly, seeing if it stuck at the wall, and it did, and they were correct. But again, this kind of just seems like a sources, trust me, bro type of tweet for some traction on Twitter. And again, like, Bradley Beal has talked about Cade previously. And this was all the way back in 2021 on December 9th when they played the Wizards. Bradley Beal with high praise for Cade Cunningham last night. Quote, "I always was a fan of his in high school. I knew he was going to be pro before he was a damn pro. He has heart. He has toughness. He's going to be a problem." So this was over 4 years ago from Bradley Beal when he was asked about Cade Cunningham during his rookie season. So obviously Bradley Beal has known Cade for a very long time. Again, I feel like Cade has a connection with a lot of star players. Like, when you look at pictures of Cade Cunningham, he's always dapping up some star player or some high level role player or secondary option. Like, Cade is just one of those ones where a lot of people respect his game, and they just know that he's going to be one of the top 10, best players in the NBA for years to come. So did want to kind of talk about the Bradley Beal stuff for a couple of minutes. I know it is off season. It is deep in the off season. Again, that report, like, it's maybe like 5% true, maybe, but I did kind of want to just talk about it today. Segment 3, let's get to Isaiah Joe. So Isaiah Joe, obviously, as you guys know, was traded to the Detroit Pistons from OKC for 2 second-round picks, and this was actually really encouraging to see. He was at the Detroit Pistons practice facility this morning. Again, this isn't really anything that we need to go too in depth with talking about, but a lot of players this time of year are either out in California, like Ron Holland's in Texas right now, which we're going to be playing like a little summer run that one of his editors just kind of posted down there. But, he's out there this morning at the PCP, getting some shots up, getting some work done. And again, like, I think this just kind of tells you the type of player that he is, that he's willing to get some, work in, brand new team. Like, I know for a fact that Paul Reed is still in Detroit getting work up. Like, someone had told me that they ran into Javonte Green last week. They ran into him, I want to say it was at just a fast food restaurant with his girlfriend. So, I mean, like, there are a lot of players on the roster that still are in Detroit getting work in. They haven't left for the California or the Texas. So I know Trajan had said that they had several players still here in Detroit, still in the gym, still getting work in. And it kind of just shows you the practice facility that the Pistons have. They have one of the nicest practice facilities in the league, downtown Detroit. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been down there if you're a season ticket holder or you've seen some pictures of it. It's a really beautiful practice facility with basketball courts, weights, jacuzzis, like, you name it. Like, it's a huge practice facility that a lot of players use on the Detroit Pistons. And Isaiah Joe, first time that we've seen him do anything Detroit Pistons on social media, he's getting some work in this morning. So we appreciate that of a player that you just did trade for. Last segment on the podcast we're going to be getting into is actually Ron Holland. Now, Ron Holland is in Dallas, Texas right now. He just had an event that he does down there. He gave a bunch of school supplies to the kids down there. Absolutely love seeing that every year, just like giving back to the community down in Duncanville, Texas, where he is from. And he had posted this run recently, and we'll play the run on the screen for you guys to watch right now. I just turned down the volume because it is extremely loud, but he is playing with NBA players like Julius Randle, Cason Wallace, Trey Johnson, just to name a few. So these aren't just like random, just YMCA bros or Lifetime Fitness guys. Like these are real NBA players. And like that 3-point shot looked good. I'm not even gonna lie. Looks like a little bit of Paul George in there, but like it's good to see Ron, in these open runs, just get some shots up with other NBA players. But I'll let you guys watch the rest of the video and I'll just shut up. So that was it. I mean, like, there's some things like when we're talking about doing a summer podcast with you guys, like, we're trying to find topics to just talk for like around 20 minutes. But it's cool to see Ron, get some work in with a lot of NBA players. I do remember a podcast we did. I don't know if you guys remember as well when we had James Barlow on from NBA Draft Junkies. That's kind of his neck of the woods in Texas. And he was telling us like live on the podcast that a lot of NBA players are just down in Dallas, Texas, obviously because of the taxes. You save a little bit of money there. That's a benefit and a plus. But a lot of them, do their offseason work there as well. And you saw several players that don't play for the Dallas Mavericks or the San Antonio Spurs in that clip, like Julius Randle, who plays for the Brooklyn Nets, Trey Johnson, who plays for the Washington Wizards. Trey Johnson is actually kind of like from around that area. But I mean, it was, interesting to see Ron in those pickups. He was the only Piston in that pickup. Obviously, Wendell Moore was in that pickup. He's playing overseas. He's going to be playing with Bobby Klittman in a European club, which I did see today, which, good for Bobby, good for Wendell. Go get that European bag. But nothing really to like overanalyze with Ron Holland in these pickups. I'm just encouraged to see him, take his offseason seriously and, get real time shots up, because a video that surfaced, I want to say a week ago, that we had posted, and a lot of people were kind of pointing out like these are not real game time speed shots. Like he needs to play against real NBA players while he's playing against real NBA players, and just kind of like a pickup in the gym in Dallas, Texas. But let me know what you guys think of the Peyton Watson new report about Denver lowering their asking price for a first-round pick and a high-level player. The Bradley Beal stuff, you guys, like, again, take that with a grain of salt. Like, I don't even honestly believe it. I just don't. Like, to me, I was just like, yeah, like, I no way, no shot. Isaiah Joe, getting some workouts in Detroit. Obviously, he's in Detroit, going to be here for this season, maybe possibly longer because he is on a team option. And Ron Holland doing some summer runs with other NBA players. I'll talk to you guys down below in the comment section. Like always, hope you guys are staying safe. Take care, and we'll catch you guys in the next podcast episode. Peace.